I want people to feel what I felt. Like, if you dream something and if you really go after it, it will happen for you. But most of the times, whenever I see a young person in India, the first question I ask to them is, what are your dreams? And what I normally get is a silence. People don't have dreams. So I want our youngsters to dream and dream big, because one, they will inspire a lot of, they will make an impact in others' life as well in some or other way. And they will also feel so alive and they will be happy.
Stick Your Neck Out, the weekly podcast of the Giraffe Heroes Foundation.
Welcome to the podcast to restore your faith in humanity. Dear listeners, are you looking to come out of your comfort zone? Are you ready to challenge your fears for an adventure? Then get ready for the great Indian treasure hunt. My name is Jean-Pierre Aguiar-Duragnona, and today we are hunting a treasure in Kerala with my guest, kanthari participant, Abhilash John. According to UN World Population Prospects 2019, India has the highest number of youth in the world. Yes, they are young, energetic, and ready for life, but are they really? What do you think about that, Abhilash? And welcome to our podcast.
Hey, thank you so much, Champion, for inviting me to this podcast. Oh, yes, we have the most number of youngsters in the world. It's almost, some statistics says 236 million youngsters. So we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of energy. But where is this energy is the question, right? The youngsters in our country are not free. They don't have an option to make choices for themselves. It's up to their parents and the society who decide for themselves. And this has caused our youngsters to, not to take risk in their life and just put themselves in their comfort zones. And we are losing a lot of potential because of that.
So you are planning to change this narrative at Khoj, right?
Exactly. So my organization name is Khoj. The word Khoj in Hindi means to search. So what we want to create is experiential learning journeys for youth, so that they can learn, unlearn, and relearn more about themselves and their interests. So that is what we want to achieve through Khoj.
You told me it's like an 8-month programs kind of, and let's say I want to apply. What exactly is expecting me in this 8 months?
Yeah, so this program is open for 18 plus, and the upper limit is we haven't decided on upper limit yet, but still it's open. So anyone who wants a change in their life, or who is looking for an adventure, can always apply for this program. So the one thing that we are looking for this from the applicant is he or she is looking for a change. He or she wants to do something different, something unconventional, to think out of the box. And what we provide them is to take out through this journey is to take them out from their comfort zone to growth. And I think all of us, we just confine ourselves in this little comfort zone of ours where everything is safe and controlled. But to grow in our life, we have to jump through different zones. And the first zone, which comes from the comfort zone, is fear. Many times it's fear that restricts us, puts us in our little cozy place.
Yeah.
But once you jump through that fear zone is when comes the curiosity zone. And in that zone, you are always open to learn new things and apply it. So next zone after curiosity is the learning, where you learn different, whatever that interests you. And once you learn these new skills and solve the problems is when you start to grow in your life. You set new goals and have a purpose in your life. So this is the philosophy that we follow at Khoj, and this is what we take our participants through. And for applying for this program, we want youngsters who are open to learning.
Yeah, but so let's say I'm a youngster, 18 plus, and I'm curious. I want to go out of my comfort zone, and I see your homepage, and I'm interested, but I don't really know exactly what is going to happen to me in the next 8 months. What how do you plan to take me out of my comfort zone? That was my question.
Okay. So the whole journey is divided into 6 different elements. We have decided in a way that we give them different experiences. So the first phase is Sky, where all the selected participants come together. It's a orientation kind of program. And here they set clear objectives and goals that they want to achieve by the end of the program. And the next phase is Water, where the whole journey begins. And this is going to be a 2-month phase where they will be volunteering with organizations that are working with environmental and wildlife protection.
Okay.
Yeah. So the third phase is Fire, where their action is converted, where their energy is converted into action. And this is again a 2-month phase. And in this phase, they will work closely with organizations that are dealing with social issues. And they will understand more about what are the problems that are existing at the ground levels. And during this phase, they also do action projects. It could be like building a home for some homeless or building a library in a communities, right?
Yeah.
And this journeys are happening across country. India is a very huge country with very diverse cultures, and they are traveling from one place. So if they are doing this environmental thing in north, they will be placed for social issue in south. So they are also learning a lot of culture, right? So the next phase is Metal, where their personalities is being molded, because it's been almost 4 months now and they have been through a rigorous process. So in this phase, they just come back together and reflect on their journey, what are what changes they have seen in themselves, and also share their experiences and also learn from each other's experiences. So the next phase is Earth, and in this phase, they will be placed in corporations to learn more about professional skills. And here they will be doing a 1-month internship, basically with corporates and other organizations. And the last phase is Air, where they feel the change, right? Just like air, we cannot see it, but we can feel it. And in this phase, they come together and present their learnings and achievements to a jury. And then we will select one team who will be the winner of, based on the projects that they have done, we will select one team. And even all other teams will receive a treasure fund, which they can use to set them free. Whatever experiences they have learned, of course, they must have got some idea on which they would like to work on. So they can use that fund to start their own initiatives, or they can use it for themselves. So that's how we have designed the whole curriculum for this 8-month program.
That sounds great. But what is the relationship between these nature elements and the comfort zone you're getting out?
Yeah. So these 6 elements are are taken from the Indian and Chinese mythology. So according to that, everything in universe is consisting of these elements, the 6 elements. And when we place them, because before that they are in their little comfort zone where everything is good, but these organizations are located at different parts of the country. It could be in a rural place where they have to adapt according to the situation, and it would be something very new to them, right? So that is how which we take them out of their little comfort zone and place them in different situations where they have to adapt, where they have to be flexible, and there would be it would be an intense program as well. And at each phase they are learning something new, whether it could be what are the social issues, what are the current environmental issues, learning professional skills, building something by their own. So there is a lot of learning happening as well. And all these things will create a curiosity in them to learn more and how they can apply it, when they go back home, all their learnings.
Sounds like a lot of, a hell of logistic what you have to, it's like how are you planning to do all that?
Yeah. So one main thing that we have decided, we will not do anything for them. Right? We will provide them a very minimum fund on which they have to survive, because we also want them to make ready to how they can survive on with little resources. And these people are, and again I say we are just getting 18 plus, so they have to manage their own travel. Everything has to be done by their own. We will just give them directions because we want to make them ready for a life. We don't want to, because till now everything, like, especially in India, the littlest thing is being taken care by parents.
Yeah.
Right. So now we want them to do things like, make arrangements for themselves, book tickets for themselves, when they're volunteering, time at one organization is over, like, travel to, it's most of the logistic is done by them.
Okay, I see, I understand. So you're promising the participants a treasure hunt.
Exactly.
What exactly are you hunting?
So we are hunting the treasures of India. Like, these youngsters are the treasures and they themselves are the treasures. So through this journey, they are kind of like, searching themselves, like, what are their interests or what are their passion. And by the end of the journey, they will find something like, within themselves, which is a treasure for them and as well as for us as a nation. Because we never know by the end of this journey where they will go. Like, the treasure hunt journey will end, but their life journey will begin.
So, and you think that 8 months is sufficient for it?
I think so, yes, because in 8 months, they are passing through different, like, it's not just one experience that they are getting. It's a roller coaster of experiences. So I think this will spark something in them. And yes, I have experienced this journey in my life. And that's how this whole idea has came into existence. So when I look back, I was also like, I was in my comfort zone, like, a few years back. But then it was not an easy decision for me to quit my job, and to follow my passion. But yeah, now I feel I have something, like, at least I have dreams. I feel so alive today. So it's just that experience that we want to give to our youngsters.
Speaking of which, as a young adult, living in your comfort zone at a corporate job was killing you, you said. And you told me in our previous talk that you were living like this until you met Irfan, a street child who helped you challenge your fears and break free to explore your strengths and patience. So who is this child and how did you meet him? Tell me a little bit about your story of change, please.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really like stories of change because it's always inspiring. My first, I was not an avid reader. Like, I see a lot of books in your background, but yeah, I have never read a book in my life. Like, my first book was The Alchemist, and the character, and it was when I was 25. Like, imagine. Yeah, so that character has inspired me a lot. And one day, by chance, like, I don't know where Irfan is right now, but by chance I met this little boy on street. His name was Irfan. He was selling storybooks on a very hot summer day in Ahmedabad, and the temperatures goes around 44, 45 degrees Celsius, and he was walking barefoot. And I was at that time working in a consulting firm. I was sitting in my AC room. So I just went out for a smoke and I see this boy. Like, I don't know. I was so frustrated. I thought I had a lot of stuff in my life. Like, my life was complete, but still I was not happy. But when I saw this boy walking barefoot on a tarred road at 45 degrees Celsius, he had the greatest smile that I've ever seen. And I just reflected on myself, like, what is it that this guy has and, like, I don't have? And I just started talking to him. And I felt that though he was a street boy, like, in India, there are a lot of street children, and Irfan was one of them. So I just started speaking to him. And what I realized that he was more free than I ever was. And that really hit me so hard. He was able to do what he really wanted to do in his life, like, and that was what made him happy. I feel like, and me, even after having a lot of stuff, even enjoying, like, good comforts in life, I thought like I'm missing something. So that was the day when I reflected on when I went back home after my working hours that day, I just reflected, what is it that I really want to do in my life and why I didn't do it, all this time. And uh, I was kind of so much fascinated by this Santiago character and the conversation that he has with his parents. So even then I started to speak with my parents and this is what I want to do. And to my surprise, even they were like, okay, go for it.
But that's not a normal response for an Indian
that's not
parent,
normal. Yeah. But the thing is, what I later realized is most of the youngsters don't even have that courage to tell what they want to their parents.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, because it's there is very little communication even happening between parents and son. And so I felt, since I had that courage, so I could just come out of that circle. And later on is what I realized is most of the youngsters don't even communicate. Most of the youngsters don't even know what they want. They are kind of just lost because we don't have much opportunities, learning opportunities like this. Even our education system, if you take our education system, it's very it's outdated.
It's outdated. It's
honest.
Really traditional, and it's only focused on producing. I have the feeling.
Exactly. It's just about grades and certificates. There is very little emphasis on experiential or creative learning. It's just rote learning. You wrote something and write it in the exam, and that's how the success is really being measured. So yeah, it's really sad. So yeah, that was the story of Irfan. I don't know where Irfan is now, or I don't know if I will meet him again. But yeah, that interaction has really helped me.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. I mean, where does this passion to work with and for kids come from?
One thing is, as I said, there is a lot of potential in these youngsters, which is not being tapped. And there is, this whole ecosystem has created a lot of fear among our youngsters, that they are not even ready to take risks in their life and do anything unconventional. They are just running after government jobs. Government job is a big thing in India. If you have a government job, that means you are successful. Your life is complete. Even you won't believe, people who have completed PhDs, they will just go for getting a government job or something like that. But they are not really realizing the potential that they have, and this is putting putting our nation a little backwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Because even after having such great potential, we don't have big innovations coming out of India, or we don't have many artists coming out of India. But we do have a lot of employees. India is the factory of the world.
But it's really interesting because, I mean, your country, India, is known for being one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Ancient India was considered as one of the epicenters of arts, philosophy, astronomy, herbal medicine, spiritual enlightenment. I mean, you have had great free thinkers and philosophers Tagore, for example, just to mention one of them. What is the problem of India in these post-colonial times?
India was epicenter, but now it's just, we are still relying on those inventions. Nothing has come out post-colonial. One thing is the education system that has been followed from last 60 to 70 years. And I think that is just producing I remember this song from Pink Floyd, Just a Brick in the Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like that. Education system is one that has to be blamed. And the next is this fear. These youngsters have to try something new. And even our leaders and, parents, everyone is just telling to study, focus on study, get a job. That's the ecosystem. That's the culture it's been built around. And that is what we want to break. So I was also talking to Sabriye, because even she was saying, even in Germany, after the World War II, and this was the same situation which was happening. Parents were forcing their children to just engage in studies and economical. But then she said there was a students movement that happened in late 60s and 70s.
It changed
that
a lot.
That has really changed a lot. And then these youngsters have got the power to decide for themselves. But here it's still nothing is happening. We are just, okay, let it happen. Let it go. Yeah. So we just want to create that change, that change in the mindset of the youngsters, that they are more than what they think of themselves.
Yeah. So now, I'm talking to you, and I'm thinking on this song of Queen.
I want to get free.
Wanted to get free and start chasing your dreams. And even though you are not addressing, of course, the same issues as that Queen was addressing with this single, there is a common ground here, breaking free from an emotionally draining relationship was Queen approach, I dare to say. Yours is another one. So what do you want to break free of?
So break free of this, barriers that are restricting our youngsters to think out of the box, to choose for themselves. You won't believe, in India, it's up to parents to decide who their children play with, what they study,
who they
marry, how many children they have, when to have a children. So these youngsters don't have an opinion for themselves. So that is what we want to, let them break free and choose for themselves. At least they can, of course, failure is a part of, if you're trying something new, you will fail.
Of course.
Yeah, we want our youngsters to fail, because when they fail is when they learn something new, right?
Definitely.
And I just want them to have this freedom to fail, because in India, it's considered as a deadly sin. If you fail, you are not accepted. So even I had this, I had a personal story that I didn't complete my engineering in
really?
India. Yeah. So every year, this is a different episode, right? Yeah. In India, every year, 2.9 million students enroll for engineering. 2.9 million. So this is the population of some of countries, in some of the countries. Yeah.
I think in Havana, exactly. We have 2 million people or something like that.
Yeah. And most of them are joining this not out of their passion. It's just because of the force.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I was one of them. And I was so frustrated. I was bored. I had no interest in engineering, that I didn't even want to write exams or get a degree or anything. But I was just I was doing it because my parents forced me to do it, and family were like, okay, go for engineering. This is what everyone, my neighbor son is doing engineering, so you have to do.
What about doctors and musicians and painters?
Exactly. So this is the common scene, right? So we want to help them to break free from all of this and choose for themselves what they really want to do.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. So let's talk a bit about the so-called comfort zone. Since you are an expert in this topic, you said, yes, you already said in the case of India, but I think there is a lot of people in the world who are in this comfort zone and don't get out of it. Why it is so important to get out of our comfort zone?
So many of the times people don't realize that they are in comfort zone. That is the main issue. They just feel, okay, this is it. This is the best. But it is, and life is so easy there, right? You don't have to answer anything. You know what you're going to do tomorrow, what is going to happen tomorrow. And people don't want to take any kind of stress.
No.
So, yeah. So even for me, I took years to realize that I was in comfort zone, because we don't realize until we have an incident, have an incident where we realize that we are in comfort zone. So, that is the main reason, right? So why it is important? Because you will unlock your potential, and that will never achieve, because I believe we all possess an unlimited energy, right? Unlimited energy to reach somewhere where we really want to do. And we don't dream about it. We don't even think about it. So one thing, lack of having clear dreams or clear goal is what keeps us in our comfort zone. But when you have a goal, a goal to change the world, or an idea, something which you really want to try it out, is when you will really feel that you are in comfort zone. Unless and until Netflix is there, Spotify is there, you will just, it will keep you. And what I feel is there are a lot of things that keeps us glued there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of systems in place that don't really want us to come out of that comfort zone.
That leads actually to my next question. What do you need, or better say, is there like a formula to get out of the comfort zone? How can you successfully step outside your comfort zone and achieve greater success in your professional life?
So one thing is at least you need to travel. So for me, what helped me is traveling. Yeah. So when I resigned my job, the first thing I did was I volunteered for 3 months in a rural village of Rajasthan, and putting ourselves in a situation that is very alien to us. Those 3 months has really helped me, because this village had no public transport. There was nothing. Even you won't get a mobile internet network there.
Okay, you were really off.
I was really off. And that is when you realize how, how privileged you are. Otherwise, in day-to-day life, even though we have a lot of privileges, we never appreciate them.
Yeah,
so when you travel to places, where you have never been, is when you start to appreciate things, and is when you start to see things, what others are lacking. And that will help you to, that will give an inspiration to do something. That is what has helped me to come out of comfort zone. And you need this inspiration, because inspiration is really important to do something. If you are not inspired, it will not help you. So everyone has a different way to get inspired. So for me, it was traveling. For someone, it could be, I don't know, reading, or it may vary. But one thing is put yourself out of your space, and at least for some time.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing there is for example, sorry. I think people sitting in the comfort zone are also in denial. It's they don't see that they are sitting there. So how do you know when you should step outside your comfort zone, or how do you recognize the right opportunity to do so?
What I feel is most of the times we know that we are in comfort zone. As I said, the next zone, just adjacent to comfort zone, is fear zone, right? And it's fears that keeps us stay there, because what will happen tomorrow? This fear of uncertainty. What will happen? If I do this, what will they say? Most of the times we just shy away from chasing our dreams, just thinking what others might say, right? So this is the fear, which we all have, and it's a very human thing. We all have fears. So, and jumping that fear zone, it's not easy.
Not at all.
Yeah. Even if you realize that I am in comfort zone, fear will keep you there. So you have to face the fears and challenge them. Is when you could really come out of this comfort zone and have this curiosity to learn and grow. Otherwise, if you don't face your fears, I think you'll just end up there. And that's a really sad part to be.
That's really sad. So how do you, or what characterizes the comfort zone, and how can I tell that I'm currently in it?
Okay. So if you wake up in the morning and if you wish this day didn't exist, then I think you're in comfort zone. So for me, when I was working, me and my colleagues were always waiting for the weekend to come. Okay, when the weekend will come, and when it's weekend, I wished that Monday didn't exist, right? So if you don't enjoy what you're doing, right, I think that is one of the indicators that you should really, tell yourself, okay, I'm in my comfort zone. But if you feel the time is less, I need more time, that means no matter where you are, you're at the right place. So for me, that was an indicator, right? I was not really enjoying what I was doing. So, but if you are, then you are at the right place. You don't have to, You don't have to come out
Okay.
of anywhere.
So finally, how is possible to eventually bring this positive change to others?
Okay, so one thing we at Khoj truly believe is like, experiential learning. You can give lectures, you can talk about it, you can like, share, read, you can do whatever. That is one part. But when you yourself experience it, like, when you yourself go through that process, is when you really start to see it, feel it, touch it, like, all our senses. When all our senses experience that feeling is when the real change happens, is what we believe. And that is what which we want to give, like, otherwise all the, like, we, everything inspires us. Even like listening to a podcast can inspire you, right? But being in that place and doing that thing will inspire you into 10 times.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is what we want to that is what we want to give to our youngsters. And I have seen this thing, like, I myself am an example. And even the colleagues, like, the people who were with me on that volunteering journey, their lives have changed, like, they have changed their life career. So I have seen this thing in front of my eyes, and that is what we want to, like, that is how we want to create a positive change.
And do you think it's really likely other people will follow that example you are offering and get inspired, get motivated themselves to get engaged?
Yeah, it's up to, like, we just can create opportunities for them, but at the end of the day, it's individual choices. But I feel once they go through something intense like this, like, once they see how privileged they are or how much they have, I think it will create a little spark, like, and slowly it will turn into something really big.
Something interesting I was thinking about by doing my research for this talk is like there are a lot of people who get, or not a lot of people, but there are some people who get out of the comfort zone, who make these experiences, but they just keep it for themselves. You, on the other hand, are trying to, you want to share this. You want to make it possible for other people. Why?
I want people to feel what I felt. Like, I don't want to keep that emotions in myself. To be honest, like, I really feel everything as a magic now. Like, I am someone who believes in magic. And once you feel that, like, you really would like someone else also to feel the same. How it feels to be in that phase, right? When things start happening for you, right? And it's a really beautiful phase. And that is one thing which I really want others to experience as well. Like, if you dream something and if you really go after it, it will happen for you. But most of the times, whenever I see a young person in India, the first question I ask to them is, what are your dreams? And what I normally get is a silence for next 2 minutes.
Being an engineer.
So, yeah. So it's a silence. Like, people don't have dreams. So I want our youngsters to dream and dream big, because one, they will inspire a lot of, like, they will make an impact in others' life as well in some or other way. And they will also feel so alive and they will be happy. Because if I'm doing something that makes me happy, creates a very negative aura, right? So if I interact with anyone, like, there is no positivity. But if I am happy, I am spreading a lot of positivity around
and
the people.
Dolphins are like,
right?
all over the place,
Yeah, exactly. So one is that, and next thing is, like, as I said, our country, right? The potential that we have is immense potential we have. If you see, like, all the global tech companies, CEOs are like, even last day, the Twitter had an Indian origin CEO. But we don't have something like Twitter in India. Like, we don't have something like Facebook in India or Google in India. We have potential. But why we don't have is, like, they're not ready to take risk. Because if you look into, like, if you read the biographies of all these founders, they have gone through some, like, really hard time. Even Microsoft,
definitely,
like, founder, he dropped out of the engineering, like, Stanford and MIT, where he was, like, he dropped out and, like,
just take a risk.
It's taking risks, right? They took risk, but Indians, we don't take risk. And so that we are a good workers, we are good employees, but we don't find or create something.
I think taking risks and following your dreams, it's scary,
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of fear outside our comfort zone, of course, and you are scared about it. So my next question is, what are you scared of with your project with Khoj?
With Khoj, I'm just scared that I don't know. I've never really thought about anything what will, because I've been all the time very positive about it. But yeah, now you made me think about what could go wrong. But yeah, as you earlier mentioned, there is a lot of logistics happening, because they are constantly moving from one place to another, and there has to be a lot of coordination to be done, whether it could be with the partnering organization. And even with the participants as well, right? So one thing that worries me is, of course, about the safety of these participants. But we will make sure all the partnering organizations are trustworthy, and we have a good relations with them. And even there are already a lot of organizations that are run by Kanthari alumni. So we have already started talking to them, and they are also excited about it, right?
I can imagine.
Yeah. So that is one main concern about the whole program, the logistics and stuff like that. But I think that is under control. And again, these people are above 18. They are smart people. And even our application process will be, we will select participants in a way what they can also offer. Right?
Speaking of
because
yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, how is the selection process? Who is going to be the lucky one in getting the chance to hunt the treasure?
Yeah, so this is of course a learning journey, but we also want, because since they are traveling in groups, they are traveling in teams, we want to select applicants that has something to offer as well, because when they travel in group, they learn from each other a lot of things. So this is one of the main criteria, what they can offer as well, and how much they are open to learning. That comes on the top. If you are not open to learning, then it will be really hard. So initially we will have a written application, and based on that we will have a one-to-one interaction, in-person interaction to know them better, and then we will be putting out the lucky participants who can be the part of the Great Indian Treasure.
But how do you measure that? I mean, how do you measure how open one can be?
That's of course selection is always you never know. It's up to how they answer it, right? So you may also make mistake at times.
Yeah.
And later you decide, oh God, no. But yeah, as I said, we will have in our selection, panel, we have someone who has worked with youngsters for a very long time, and with many youngsters, and have been part of such programs. So some people have this intuition, right? When they look at, okay, this is the guy. But yeah, we will try to make it as, clear and very honest, because even it's an investment for them. They are investing 8 months of their time. And if they don't want to learn anything, it's just a waste of 8 months for them as well, and for us as well. So being very open and honest about their learnings, what they want to take away, is something which we will really focus on during the selection criteria. Because if their takeaways doesn't match with what we want to offer, then there is no point of putting them on the journey.
Beyond seeing more cities, beyond watching, or beyond getting out of my comfort zone, is there something else you're looking for these youngsters?
One thing is we want them to be the risk takers, going ahead, at least chasing their big dreams. But there is also an aspect, there is an immediate output which we will be achieving by the end of this treasure hunt. Is like they would have collectively planted and cultivated 10 acres of land. They would have collectively cleaned 10,000 square meter of water bodies, right? And they would have done 8 action projects in different parts of the country. And collectively, they have achieved 5,000 hours of volunteering. So this is the immediate output that we are like, the impact, which is very tangible impact, which we will be having by the end of the treasure hunt. So that is one major big part of the whole program, apart from like, their personal growth or their personal journeys, because they are working with these organizations, right?
So when are you going to start with Khoj? Like really start with it?
Yeah. So really, the current action plan is we are going to get registered in the month of January. And we have already started looking for the partnering organizations, since we have a good list from Kanthari. So
yeah.
I'm already on it. And even like, there are some organizations which I have worked with previously. I have also reached out to them, and they are so happy about this project that some of them have also agreed they would be happy to host volunteers at their spaces.
Great. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So realistically, by the first week of April is when we are expecting to start the Great Indian Treasure Hunt.
Well, it's amazing. It's a really nice project, and I just have one last question. How do we allow ourselves to dream and break out of traditions?
Yeah, that's really a question to think, right? It's not an easy. What I would say, it's not easy. You would have to challenge the status quo. You would have to make hard conversations with people. You would have to make someone sad also, because sometimes what happens. A lot of people have expectations on us, right? And this burden of expectations sometimes just cover us from seeing ourselves or looking into what we want. So, and in sometimes it's not even good, because everyone is living their own life, right? Everyone is having their own dreams and aspirations. So in India, mostly what happens, parents put their dreams upon their children's dream. If I couldn't be an engineer, so my son should be an engineer. If I couldn't join medicine, my son should join medicine. And that's not a right thing to do, because we all are individuals and we all have our space. So I think mutual respect is important, but putting our dreams on someone else's is not easy. So if you want to really come out of your comfort zone, change this culture, you should need to have the courage, is what I would say. And just reflection, reflection in regular interval of time is really important. Having just a self-talk, looking into mirror and just ask yourself, is this what you really want to do? If your heart says yes, okay, go for it. There is no one is stopping you. But even if there is some doubt, just reflect more. And just talk to the right people. And I hope with the right conversations, things will happen, things will change. Many of the times we just don't have conversation. We just let it go, let it happen. Especially in India, right? Especially in India, we don't have this hard conversations, because we are very sentimental people. We don't want to hurt someone. Yeah. And because of that, we just suffer. So stop suffering, be open about yourself, your feelings. And that is the only way I think, you can have this courage to come out, or you can ever break free from this circle of comfort zone.
Locked in a cage of constraints and expectations, Abhilash was not able to dream and follow his personal path. A street child helped him to challenge his fears, to set him free to explore his strengths and passions. Through his social venture, Khoj, he offers the Great Indian Treasure Hunt, an adventurous journey for Indian youngsters to break out of their parents' dreams. Thanks, Abhilash, for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Ampere, for inviting me to this podcast. Thank you.
The bells are jingling, the house is covered in glitter, and the pokes are on every radio station. It is Christmas. This time is all about spending the time with family and friends. It's about creating happy memories that will last a lifetime. May this podcast be one of these great memories. During these festive seasons of giving, let us take time to slow down and enjoy the simple things. I hope this wonderful time of the year touches your heart in a special way. Wishing you and your family, dear listener, much happiness, not just today, but throughout the new year. And there we are at the end of the podcast to restore your faith in humanity. You'll find the stories of people sticking their necks out every Tuesday on Spotify, iTunes, our homepage, and every other place where you get your podcast. And if you subscribe, remember, you don't have to look out for us. We'll be coming to you. Dear listeners, if there is a friend, a family member, an organization, or someone you know who is doing a great work in the community, someone sticking their neck out, just nominate them as a Giraffe Hero or tell us about them. Leave a comment, come and visit us at giraffe-heroes.eu. My name is Jean-Pierre Aguiar Durañona, and I hope you join us also on our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. But more importantly, Merry Christmas, and I hope you join us again next week.
Stick Your Neck Out, the weekly podcast of the Giraffe Heroes Foundation.